So Coby White just had a game. He nailed a whole bunch of threes against the Knicks. Props to him. His jumper looked really good, and his percentages from three have not been great so far, but I feel like Coby White can be a pretty good shooter. I mean, his form, while it is a little low, it does look pretty smooth, and he goes up with it with a lot of confidence, and occasionally he might take a three that is a little too daring, whether it's off of a screen or a guy in his face or whatever. But that also is kind of where we're at in the NBA today, where we just encourage rookies to do that, and sometimes that means percentages are not going to be awesome out of the gate. But even so, I do think Coby White can be a good shooter. I did mention the Bulls. I did a whole video on these guys not long ago, trashed Jim Boylan a little bit. I didn't mention Coby White too much, but I feel like doing it now, so here we are. I do think the shooting is going to be pretty damn important for Coby, because he doesn't have the most verticality in the world going towards the basket, which is a little weird because he's really fast and shifty and quick with the ball, so you'd think that would mean he could also dunk and finish over dudes and stuff. He's got one dunk so far. He's been blocked a lot. He was blocked like 5 times against the Raptors just off of layups and stuff. And I think, he is going to have to make some progress with like a floater and maybe some scoop shots and off-balance shots and things like that. But I do think the jumper could go a long way. I mean, you look at a guy kind of like similar mold of player, like Lou Williams. Has Lou Williams dunked in like 4 years? Apparently he dunked 4 times last season, so there you go. But I do think it could be a similar thing with Coby White, where he's just not going to be Westbrook at the rim, but he could still be an effective offensive player and all that. Coby's shot chart is interesting. It's basically just threes and layups, which you figure would be really good, but I do have some concerns that he's not going to be this great scorer around the basket. And if that's the case, then it might make sense for him to develop a little bit more of the floaters and the mid-range and that type of thing. I mean, typically we would be like, no, don't shoot mid-rangers, but in the case of Coby, I think it actually could make some sense. And I do think his jumper, again, the fact that it's low is a little concerning, but I do think his jumper is the type where you can go into it off the dribble with not much trouble, so that's good. And, maybe at that point we look at Coby and we hope that he can be kind of like a CJ McCollum type of player, where not the tallest dude in the world, don't know if he's ever going to be a playmaker like that, but he's a dude who can create his own shot and do it from kind of everywhere on the floor, right? I should say, when I was talking about the Lou Williams thing, Lou Williams did get to the rim and was pretty damn successful last season, so Coby White's got some strides to make on that nonetheless. But again, I do think he's going to have to bust out the Steph Curry scoop layup package in order to have success as an inside scorer. Now, other things with Coby, I mentioned the shiftiness. Dude's got some handles, no doubt. His quickness off the dribble is legit, and I would assume just with some seasoning, he can be effective off of screens and things like that. Again, I don't think he's ever going to be some awesome passer, but I don't think that means he can't be a good offensive player just in general. I mean, I don't really know what the Bulls envision him as. I mean, technically he's a point guard, but I mean, is he really a point guard? He may just be a 2-guard who is more in a point guard's body. I mean, if we look at the lineups that he's played in this season, he's played a lot with Arcidiacono and Chris Dunn as well. Boylan has whipped out some 3-guard lineups, which I've seen some Bulls fans kill, but those lineups have actually been positives. So, I don't know. I'm trying to see if he's played with Levine that much. He's played 94 minutes this season with Levine, according to Basketball Reference. I don't really know what's going to be the perfect fit for Coby White. I mean, maybe he's meant to be like the main dude with the ball in his hands when he's got it. And if that's the case, perhaps his destiny in the NBA is to be a spark plug off the bench. Another name I randomly think of is like, of Bulls lore, Ben Gordon, 6'2", 6'3", just that kind of a scorer who can be a shooter, and occasionally you're like, whoa man, that's not a great shot, but then it goes in anyway. And these type of guys can be tough to have a role for. I mean, is Coby White going to be content with playing with Levine and Markkanen and just being a floor spacer? Well, if the percentages from 3 prove to be alright, then I think he could do it, but I don't know if that would be maximizing his talent, Now, maybe he could be some awesome off-ball dude, but I don't know. He just might be a guy where you gotta kind of let him go a little bit, and it's occasionally going to be a headache, but there's also going to be a lot of exciting times as well. Now, is there a crazy world in which he's like Isaiah Thomas, where even though he isn't going to be some force at dunking or anything, he's just so good off the ball and he's so crafty inside that he's like amazing anyway? I mean, that's a tough ask, especially where Levine is going to be the top dog with the handling and stuff. So I would say no, but perhaps the chances are higher than 0% on that. They don't go much higher than like 1%, but hey, like Coby White is kind of in that mold of scorer who is just kind of interesting. Assuming, again, that the efficiency is real and he just has been missing a few too many shots out of the gate. But, we saw it last night against the Knicks. Was it last night, 2 nights ago, whatever it was? It's definitely there. I mean, he can be this spark plug scorer that can bring the team a lot of energy. So, we'll see. He's definitely interesting.